Anyway. Okay, so you guys think that Conor beats Bryce Mitchell? Listen, I understand McGregor is very dangerous, but can we just say this? Can we just say this? Bryce Mitchell has underrated takedown entries, and he's a better grappler than Chad Mendes. Yes or no? He is a better grappler than Chad Mendes. Control grappler. What do you mean, man? Chad Mendes was a big wrestler with a big blast double leg, bro. What do you mean? Chad Mendes was a strong wrestler, man. Of course he was a better... Oh, shut up. Whoa, wait a second. Are you kidding me? He's a better grappler than Chad Mendes. Wait. So Chad Mendes took people down and didn't submit people, didn't really beat people up that badly. He was a guy that took people down, they got up a minute later. And yeah, he took Conor down and beat him up a little bit. Bryce Mitchell isn't as damaging on the ground necessarily. But guess what? When Bryce Mitchell takes people down, they don't get up. Ilia Topuria didn't get up. He took down Ilia Topuria. You know that's more impressive than taking down McGregor if you're Chad Mendes. Okay? He took down Dan Ige, and it looked like Dan Ige was fighting against a boa constrictor. All right? Listen, I'm not saying Bryce Mitchell beats McGregor. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if McGregor gets taken down in that fight, there's a real, this is, as Bedtime says, this is a real thing, as Chael Sonnen says, actually, but this is a real thing. If McGregor gets taken down by Bryce Mitchell, it's actually a problem. You've literally never been correct about anything? That's not really? Didn't I predict Islam Makhachev to KO Alexander Volkanovski? Didn't I predict Makhachev to beat Volk the first time? Haven't I gotten every single main event right this year? Come on, bro. Mendes and McGregor would KO Mitchell easily? No, not easily. I'm sorry, bro. Not easily. It would actually be tricky. No, I actually think that they would... I think that McGregor KOs Bryce Mitchell. I think McGregor's distance... I think he KOs Bryce Mitchell. I'm just saying it would be an issue if he gets taken down. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Bryce Mitchell beats McGregor. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if he gets taken down, that's bad. Okay, Diego Lopes and McGregor. Prime McGregor versus Diego Lopes. Who you guys got? Conor first round KO, McGregor. First round KO on a guy who has a granite chin is pretty crazy, but okay. All right, I think McGregor could beat him, but Diego Lopes is a big featherweight. I think Diego Lopes is better than Chad Mendes. What do you mean he's better than Chad Mendes? I could see people saying that. Dude, Chad Mendes. So much nostalgia bias goes into a thought process like that. Diego Lopes has never lost in the UFC outside of one fight that he took on short notice against a really solid fighter. Diego Lopes could very well go on to have a better resume than Chad Mendes. And he's about to hit his prime. So it's not crazy to say that. Why do you always have to try and have a... It's not a crazy take! It's not a crazy take. You want to... Okay, let's pull up Chad Mendes' resume. Let's pull up Chad Mendes' record. You know. Thank you for the $5, Dylan. If Nate Diaz can bop Conor's head around, I see Lopes doing it too. Nate Diaz was a little bit different in his prime, to be fair. But yeah, Lopes is dangerous. Let's look at Chad Mendes. Okay. So this is the almighty Chad Mendes, guys. The almighty Chad Mendes. Okay? Very good. We're not, there's no doubt about that. But what's his best win? Ricardo Lamas, Clay Guida, Darren Elkins. Those are the big three. Cub Swanson. So, do you guys think that Diego Lopes would be incapable of beating a guy like Darren Elkins, Nick Lentz, Ricardo Lamas? Diego, see, this is the thing. You guys say it's a crazy take. I know it's not just about this, but you're almost talking about it as if Chad Mendes has achieved this like elite status by beating the elite fighters. He's beat good fighters like Diego Lopes. Lopes beating Dan Ige is better than this dude beating Ricardo Lamas. Or at least it's similar, because Ricardo Lamas was decent. Lopes beats Mendes, not Conor. I think Lopes is... All I'm saying is that Lopes could be better than Chad Mendes. It's not a hot take, but I see what you're saying. I don't think he necessarily beats Prime Conor. But if it goes to the ground, it would be a big issue. I'm not, okay, you guys are getting it twisted. I'm not arguing that Diego Lopes beats McGregor. I'm arguing Diego Lopes and Chad Mendes, who's a better fighter. And I'm just saying it's not all that obvious. Lopes will never be top 5 or champ. I disagree. Big time. He didn't even have a full training camp in his last fight. His gas tank is the only thing that can hold him back. He's like a modern day McGregor when it comes to the gas tank. Okay? Okay, so let's continue to look at the list. Let's continue to go down the list. So we've so far determined that we're probably picking Conor in his prime to beat the top 4, but he gets taken down by Diego or Bryce Mitchell, it's going to be an issue. Lerone Murphy versus McGregor. Oh, but this is where it gets a little bit tricky for McGregor. Mate, I could just, you know the Dan Hardy guys at Full Reptile. They love McGregor, but they love a UK prospect more. Oh, just think Lerone Murphy. I mean, McGregor plays people like instruments, but I could just see Lerone frustrating with him with that wrestling pressure, you know? I could just see Lerone frustrating him with the takedowns and whatnot. Yeah. He's got the wrestling pressure, right? So, what do you guys think? Lerone Murphy or McGregor? Seriously. Let's get your picks. Conor, I think most of us are going to go with Conor. I don't think Lerone Murphy has the finishing potential on the ground to, like, beat Conor McGregor there. UK fans are the biggest glazers for their fighters. Very true. Very true. And Nigerians. UK fans and Nigerians, bro. I don't know who else. Maybe the Mexicans. They do glaze their fighters too. The Mexicans wait until after the fight, after a close fight, to call it an obvious robbery. That's what the Mexicans will do. They'll call it an obvious robbery when it was actually very close every single time. But I understand it's not the most casual thing to do all the time because close fights, I mean, every robbery is somewhat a close fight. Scamrot versus Hooker official in Perth. Nice. Thank you for the 20 NOK. I actually am hyped for that fight. And I was worried that they were going to give Dan Hooker an irrelevant nobody just because he wanted to be on the card. That's what I was worried about. And I'm actually happy that it's a ranked fight. That's awesome. That's big. I think Gamrot wins, but I love that fight. It's a great fight. I was worried they were going to do Dan Hooker versus someone like Nick Lentz or whatever. Okay, so let's move on. Let's continue. Giga Chikadze. Wait a second. They don't even have a number 10 here. They just went from 11 to 9. Oh, they have 2 9s. Okay, so Giga Chikadze versus McGregor. I think, Giga did school Edson Barboza and made him look easy. That's not an easy fight for Conor. Hold on. Prime Giga Chikadze. Are we talking about the version right now? Or are we talking about Prime Giga? No. Stop, man. Stop. Dude, this is like the fucking perfect response to what I'm saying. This is basically, man. Why can't you just say it's obvious, bro? I'm just saying we got to dig into the weeds. Okay? Prime Giga. Prime Giga. Prime Giga was when he fought Edson Barboza. Hold on. If you guys watched Giga Chikadze's fight against Edson Barboza, you remember the aura. You do. Anyone that watched that fight live remembers being incredibly impressed with how he made Edson look slow. Washed up Barboza. Barboza, after that, had like 6 more fights and won most of them. He wasn't that washed up. Listen, I think McGregor wins. I'm just saying that version of Giga is tougher than Dennis Seaver. Similar matchups. The 2 guys that kick, right? Throw a lot of kick spinning attacks. Giga's a tougher fight than Dennis. Just being honest. And he's not a freaking manlet dwarf. All right? Well, anyway, let's get on to the next one. Stop, bro. Yeah, he melted Edson. Giga is so bad. I'm saying the Giga that fought Edson Barboza. Not right now. I think the Giga that... You know what? He might come back better. But let's continue to go down the rankings. So we're talking about Prime McGregor, guys, remember. So we just talked about Giga Chikadze. Calvin Kattar versus Prime McGregor. I'm going with Prime McGregor. I mean, this is a pretty easy pick right here. They're both boxers. I'd say McGregor's the better boxer. Say McGregor's kicking game is better. In a 5-rounder, things could get interesting because Calvin Kattar's never been knocked out. Sounds like Nate Diaz or chin like James Vick. Chin like James Vick because I don't have to be a fighter. I don't have to get in the cage to get knocked out to show everyone. I don't want to sound like Nate Diaz. Thank you for the $2. Okay, guys. Calvin Kattar or McGregor? McGregor, easy money, like Moicano says. Yeah, I would definitely pick Conor. 5-rounder, though. You got to see what I'm thinking, guys. If McGregor doesn't finish Kattar and it gets to the 4th and 5th, things could get interesting. Zabit was a great striker, and Kattar was whooping his ass in the 3rd round of their fight. Okay? But do you think... Okay, now my next question is, do you think McGregor KOs him? Do you think McGregor finishes Calvin Kattar? I know that just because someone has a granite chin, it doesn't mean they can't be finished. Like Francis Ngannou had a granite chin, got finished badly against Anthony Joshua. Do you think he finishes him? Yes. Someone says yes. He schools him? No. Nah. So we're kind of mixed on that. I don't think he finishes him. I don't know if he does. Prime McGregor, though, massive for featherweight. McGregor would be bigger than Calvin Kattar. So maybe he finishes him. Maybe he could land the right shot, accurate enough to put him away. Next up, bantamweight skill, Aljamain Sterling. You know how we talk about featherweight skill. What about bantamweight skill, Aljamain Sterling versus McGregor? Next one. Who are you guys picking, Prime McGregor or Aljo? McGregor, man, come on, don't be dumb, bro. Okay, but what if Aljo, who we didn't think would outgrapple Calvin Kattar as easily as he did, I thought he would be able to be more dominant by taking him down, but the fact that he took him down with such ease was pretty impressive. Aljo, Conor, Aljo backpacks him. Dude, I could see Aljamain Sterling with his former Bantamweight championship grappling skill out-grappling McGregor. Conor would do him like O'Malley? Maybe, but I think O'Malley's better than McGregor. I think he's a lot better, and he's a lot faster and slicker with his footwork. McGregor was a bit of a marauder. McGregor's a bigger, more powerful O'Malley. Also a slower, less slick, not as fast footwork. You mean smudge skill? Aljamain could. But the thing is, if Aljamain doesn't get KO'd, he has a good gas tank. I think McGregor could gas out. In a 5-rounder, I'm talking about 5-rounder. Listen, it's obvious. Aljo either gets KO'd or he wins a decision in a 5-rounder. That's my take on it. Aljo would win a decision, but McGregor could definitely get the KO. I think it's actually a close fight. Josh Emmett. Okay, well, this is actually a good one. What do you guys think? Josh Emmett versus McGregor. I think this is pretty obvious. I think Josh Emmett wins just because he's a big, powerful puncher. McGregor's known for his power, but Emmett's got better power and better technique. I'm joking. I think we would all agree that Prime McGregor probably beats Emmett. But Prime McGregor was very hittable. His defense wasn't that great. There's a pathway for Emmett, but I think Emmett's too predictable, and that's the classic. You know, sometimes I disagree with people's assessment of McGregor's just tailor-made for these stocky wrestlers. But in this case, I think Josh Emmett's very predictable style, dip his head, throw overhands, and meaty hooks. I don't think that's enough for McGregor. Okay, now we're getting to the real test. Arnold Allen versus McGregor. You know what? I think Arnold Allen is Prime McGregor in his prime. I think you put Arnold Allen back in the 2013 days, I think he is doing similar things that McGregor did to these early 2010s fighters. I actually think Allen is faster than Prime McGregor. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who wins because Arnold has a bit of a chinny chin. He's getting rocked by Movsar Evloev, which is not a good look. And Allen does get hit. Hey, he took the 5th round off of Holloway. He took the 2nd and 5th round off of Holloway. Pretty impressive. Allen has no power, kid. I mean, he's got tons of speed and thud. Allen is too good and stronger. Yeah, I could see McGregor rocking Allen. I think McGregor's power is definitely superior to Brendan Allen's. Allen is way more well-rounded than Prime McGregor. Yeah, but when does Allen really ever pull out the grappling? Well-rounded. He's got good takedown defense, but when is he really pulling out the offensive grappling? Okay, Yair. Oh, this is the real casual test. Yair Rodriguez versus McGregor, 5 rounds. 5 rounds. McGregor is hittable, and it's against Yair Rodriguez, who's got insane output, who never tires out. That's the thing about Yair. Yair gets beat up on the ground. He never tires out on the feet. In the 5th round against Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez still was throwing tons of output with lots of good speed. Got to take Yair. I think Yair could potentially beat up McGregor. I think Yair would be that much of a nightmare for Conor. Yes, I could see Conor McGregor landing like gnarly left hands on the chin of Yair, rocking his head back. But does he take him down? Is he going to be reliant on the KO? Yair has a decent chin. Is he going to be reliant on the KO? McGregor outgrapples him. He could if his ego allows him. The thing is, McGregor, would his ego allow him to grapple early? Because if he doesn't grapple early and it gets into the 3rd round and Yair's winning and McGregor then starts to grapple, he's probably gassed. McGregor's gas tank in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, not so great. Would he be able to consistently take down Yair when he's slowing down after the hard weight cut? Because has McGregor ever really pushed a crazy pace in a 5-rounder at featherweight? No, he's never gone 5 rounds at featherweight. He's outgrappled Holloway back in the day, but I don't even think that version of Holloway is as good as Yair Rodriguez on the ground today. And Holloway was not as much of an issue on the feet as Yair is. Back in the day, Max Holloway was not an issue on the feet like Yair is today. I think Yair could potentially win. Yeah, it's Yair, he's soft. Well, McGregor can gas. McGregor can literally gas. Hey, man, who would have won in 2016, McGregor or RDA? McGregor. I would definitely go with McGregor by KO. Is welterweight top 5 better than featherweights? No. Volk, Holloway, Evloev underrated? No, definitely not. Well, you got Bilal Muhammad and Colby Covington in the top 5? Fuck no. Yair's overrated? No, I don't think he's overrated. I think most people actually look past Yair in a way. Most people rate him properly, I would say. His grappling sucks. We know he's good on the feet, but does anyone really overrate Yair on the feet that much? The majority of people don't talk about Yair as being as good as he actually is on the feet. They actually look at Brian Ortega submitting Yair and just winning against Yair, and because of that outcome, they will therefore say Yair's not that good on the feet. Like, they won't say he's not good on the feet just because he didn't beat Ortega, but they'll kind of pump the brakes on Yair in his whole entire game because of a loss to Ortega, when him getting submitted by Brian Ortega is not even a bad look. Like, some people would say him losing to Ortega is a horrible look. This fight was sloppy. I get it. Both guys have like massive holes in their game in different ways. Like, Ortega's hole is his stand-up defense and Yair's hole is his grappling. But let's be honest. Is it that bad of a look to get submitted by Brian Ortega? Are you trash because you get submitted by Brian Ortega on the ground? I don't think so. I'm not saying Yair Rodriguez is an underrated grappler. I'm just saying him getting submitted by Brian Ortega doesn't mean he's just all of a sudden just not even that good. Yair doesn't have any power. He knocked down Brian Ortega twice. He does have a good amount of power. Anyway, Yair looks like a chipmunk. He actually does. He does look like a chipmunk. Okay, Ortega versus Conor. Prime versus Prime. Who wins? Ortega versus Conor. What's up, Leo Cooper? Ortega versus Conor. I think that McGregor wins this, but the thing is, can anyone knock Ortega out on the feet for real? Can anyone separate him from his consciousness? Because Brian Ortega is one of those guys that could get beat up for 4 rounds, and in the 5th, he has his best round against Volk. The 5th round was Ortega's best round against Volk. Still lost, but has a great gas tank. Ortega submission. If Ortega gets McGregor down, he's messing him up. And Ortega's grappling is actually, or wrestling, is not as bad as people make it out to be. Ortega has decent takedowns. He's not really struggled taking people down as much as people think. He's had good success with it. He just doesn't shoot a lot. Ortega via chin mogging and just cardio mogging, durability mogging, zombie mogging. That's a nightmare for McGregor in the later rounds. Because McGregor would land the kitchen sink at him. He's like a Nate Diaz in his own way. McGregor lands the kitchen sink on him, drops him twice in the first round, and Ortega's still there, fresh. You know, chin fully recovered in the second. I could see Prime McGregor fading and getting submitted by sloppy man Ortega, just like he got finished by sloppy Nate Diaz. Sloppy Diaz. I know Diaz had great boxing and a good submission game, but you get my point. I could see it being an issue if McGregor doesn't finish him. Holloway versus McGregor. Okay, this is obvious. Max Holloway versus McGregor. The only way McGregor beats Max Holloway, this version of Max, is if he knocks him out. That's not happening. Holloway would TKO McGregor in the later rounds. There's no doubt about it. Holloway could take McGregor down and beat him up on the ground. Holloway could literally use the game plan that McGregor used on him back in the day to McGregor in his prime. Holloway could take McGregor down. Holloway is good grappling. Yeah, Max. Easy fight for Max. Not easy in the early going, but this is basically Max versus Yair, but Yair has a horrible gas tank and fades in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I think Holloway TKOs him. Alexander Volkanovski. I understand this is a easier matchup for McGregor because it's not an unfinishable guy, but I think it's similar. I think Volkanovski takes McGregor down, beats him up, and I think he finishes McGregor in the later rounds. I think Volkanovski's cardio is off the charts. I think his grappling is good enough for him to take down McGregor. And I actually think his speed is good enough for him to be able to stand with McGregor a bit. I don't think it's just Volk gets chinned. This is the thing that kind of annoys me. It's like people look at Volkanovski and say he loses to everyone with power. I understand that he's gotten KO'd by people that have power. One person. Volk gets KO'd by everyone with power. He's been KO'd by one guy that has crazy power. Now you're going to say Islam Makhachev too. Well, he fought Islam Makhachev the first time. 5 rounds and took knees flush to the face, got hit with flush combinations on the feet. Yeah, he got KO'd when he was 1 week off the couch with a horrible weight cut. Yeah, it was a perfectly set up head kick, but it wasn't just the power was too much. He's been KO'd by one guy because power, okay? And it was not just power, it was perfect technique. Volkanovski went a whole fucking career not getting KO'd. I think he could potentially not get KO'd against McGregor. I'm picking Volk. I don't think you're crazy if you think McGregor chins him, but I think you are crazy if you're saying something like this. Conor chins him, man. Just stop, man. Dude, I can't take it anymore. Such a shit take, bro. That's where you're crazy.